I was 16 years old, and Ellie and a group of her friends produced a newspaper for the working class in New York City. And I don't actually remember the actual name of the newspaper, but it was something working.
People's Herald.
People's Herald. I have very vivid memories as a 16-year-old being taken to the streets at night with their posters to advertise their mission and what they were all about, of course, which was, I guess, illegal. And so as we went and were hanging the posters in the streets, then Ardeshir and Ellie would yell, "Run!" And everyone, the police are coming. And everyone would run in different directions and skirt. And I was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. Very vivid memories that I will never forget. Also, they also taught me songs that I remember very clearly. There was a little book of songs about the working class, and there was many, many songs. But I am literally 54 years old now, and since I was 16, these songs have stayed with me. There was "I Dreamed I Saw Joe Hill Last Night." There once was a Union Maid, "Massacre at Kent State." All these songs have stayed in my mind. I remember watching, ironically, she mentioned Titanic, the Titanic in Ardeshir's apartment when I was there at the age of 16. They're great memories, and at some point, Ellie and Ardeshir fell in love. They shared a true passion in their political beliefs. One day after their marriage, Ellie came home and informed the family that she was leaving, and she was going to live in Iran, and that she did not know when she would ever see any of us again. But Ardeshir wanted to go to his homeland of Iran, and I thought to myself, I'm upset. I would miss my sister, number one, and I didn't know when I would see her again. And also, my sister was very strong in the women's liberation movement, and I wondered how she would be in trying to understand how she would adjust in a different culture. But they went, and I realized later, much later, that she loved Ardeshir so much that she would have followed him to the ends of the earth. After the war broke out between Iraq and Iran, it quickly became unsafe where they were, and they had to come back to the States. And even though their dream was to stay in Iran, they ended up raising their family in New York. Except for their visits home, eventually they would have two wonderful children, Ommani and Sheila. Both Ardeshir and Ellie were dedicated teachers in the New York City schools. And although our visits were few and far between, and mostly when Ellie and Ardeshir traveled to us with their children, we loved them so much, and they meant so much to us. And I wish I had spent many more years coming to New York to visit them. Over the years, I learned from Ardeshir the things he valued, and besides family, which I agree with Brian, it may not have always appeared that way, but he really valued family the most. The other thing he valued most was getting an education and making a difference in the world. His lifelong fight for peace and social justice for all people is a mark that he has left in this world that can never be erased, ever. Although Ardeshir and I over the years have differed in some of our values and opinions, we have always felt love for each other. There were very few times in his life that I sensed his vulnerability, because he was a very strong man who was always in control. Those times were the saddest times in his life. When he lost his beloved son, Ommani, was the first time I saw his vulnerability. And the second time was when he sensed his own life was coming to an end, and that he would be leaving his beloved wife, daughter, son-in-law, and grandson. But it was during these times that I felt the closest bond with him. The happy moments that I have seen with him was when his loving and dedicated daughter married Brian and gave him a precious grandson. After Armand was born one day, we were speaking on the phone, and he confided in me that he was worried before the baby was born if Brian would be the same kind of father, I probably never told you this, to young Armand as he himself was to Armand as he took care of him as a baby, which he told me about a lot. He was pleasantly relieved when he found out Brian is. And I said to him, well, I always knew Brian would be a great dad. And in Ardeshir's funny way of talking, he said, you did? What, how did you do that? I said, of course, I just knew Ardeshir. And my final 3 days spent with Ardeshir and the family, I witnessed his vulnerability again. Not knowing what to expect from a man of Ardeshir's control and strongness, we went down and we spent 3 days 2 weeks ago that we actually left the night before he became unresponsive the next morning. It was during those 3 days that we had the most intimate bond. He not only allowed us to care for him physically, which I didn't know, he was still completely with it. He allowed us to care for him, he welcomed us, showering him with love, and he gave us love back. It was very difficult when he asked me if he was dying, and that it was that why we were there. I thought quickly, and I was able to give him an honest answer while never taking away that glimmer of hope. He was going to live longer. I will forever be thankful for that time that I spent with him during the second most difficult times of their life. I witnessed sadness, fear of losing control, along with a little bit of anger from Ardeshir, while at the same time, huge, meaningful laughter, true laughter, and intense love. And we all know how much Ellie and Ardeshir loved each other. To quote Gilla, it wasn't a fairy tale, but it was love. I love you, Ardeshir, and I know that your energy is spread across the world right now, pulsating others to continue your work of peace and social justice. Thank you.